next speaker. Her name is Ania Halama.
Do not forget your worth, and do not forget that your happiness comes first. So fun. That was the first time I'm actually seeing that intro, and I absolutely loved it. So good. Hello, everyone. My name is Ania Halama, and I am the rebel entrepreneur and the host of this beautiful show, Spirituality for Badass Babes, because I believe everyone is a spiritual badass in one way or another, and it's really up to us to figure out how we are that badass, how we connect to that spirituality. I'm so excited. So before we get started, I'd love to introduce myself, who I am, what I do, because I'll be hosting the show for the next few months, so you might want to know a little bit more about me and everything that I do. First off, thank you so much for everyone who's watching. Thank you so much for everyone who's watching the replay, and everyone that is participating in this show, who's helping me with this show. I just feel so honored and so blessed to be here in front of everyone and to share the wealth of knowledge that I have, because I have so much from so many different angles, so many different aspects of the world. So good. So a little about me. I am the author of the book Rebel's Guide to Spirituality, which, there you go. Such a beautiful book, my pride and joy, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that as well. I am an energetic healer. I'm certified in Reiki, EFT, Akashic Records, angel healing. I'm an intuitive. I am also a digital artist. I graduated university when I was 19 years old with my first bachelor's degree in graphic design, my second bachelor's degree in marketing at 22. I'm an entrepreneur. I've had many businesses. I've had a design agency. I've had a travel blog. I did affiliate marketing, network marketing. I had a social media agency, a marketing agency, a business coach, and now I am doing spiritual transformation coach. I am a digital nomad, which means I'm a citizen of the world. Excuse me. I have traveled to close to 70 countries. I've lived in 10 countries. I have a US and an EU passport. And today I'm coming to you from Colombia, from Medellin. This has been my home base on and off for 4 years. I absolutely love it. I love the people, the plant medicines, the nature. It's a city that's literally built on top of the mountains. It's amazing. You're like walking through the food district, and you see like you're in the jungle. It is absolutely amazing. I highly recommend it. If anyone hasn't been there, to check it out. So I am currently a spiritual transformation coach. 2021, I was a spiritual business coach, which I focus a lot on business strategy, but also bringing spirituality into business. So getting rid of limiting beliefs. So working with money, how to energetically align yourself, for your clients, how to attract things, law of attraction, versus constantly being in hustle. I'm American, so I understand the American dream. I worked in corporate America for a long time. I understand the hustle, which we don't have to always do that. We can attract things. We have to have a beautiful merge of the masculine and the feminine. So good. Then once we do that, we can fully align our energy to be whatever we want it to be, to manifest things, to manifest clients, to manifest a beautiful life similar to what I'm doing. And I hope throughout these next couple of months, you're going to learn so many bits and pieces from me in order to fully start living the dream and the life that you've always dreamed of, because everyone has so many beautiful dreams, but we get into our minds. We get into like, oh, I can't do that. I have kids now, or I need to be an adult. Well, yeah, you do. I do as well. But we can have a beautiful life at the same time. We can attract abundance. Abundance is all around us. One of my favorite things why I'm living in Medellin is there's so much abundance here. I'm from Chicago originally. It's a stunning country. City is Chicago, but it's a concrete jungle. So now I'm in a city that's in the actual jungle, and that's so much cooler. There's so much abundance, so much greenery. You walk outside and it's lush, it's beautiful. So connecting back to that abundance, connecting back to your soul, who you are on a soul level, who you are on a real inside level, and so amazing. So I want to start off sharing a little bit of my story, who I am, how I became the person that I am today, because some of you are watching that came from my platforms, but some of you, I'm completely new. You might never heard of me before. So a little about me. I have always been on a spiritual journey, per se, not a spiritual path, but a spiritual journey. Ever since I was younger, I remember I was maybe 4 or 5 years old, and I saw angels everywhere. My mom, I would be like, Mama, look, like there's angels right there. And she's like, you're crazy. There's nothing there. It's maybe just your imaginary friend. I'm like, no, I'm serious. They're real angels. And she's like, you're nuts. But I've always been connected. I've always been in tune. Then when I was about 10 years old, I started seeing this spirit in my house. Excuse me. I started seeing the spirit in my bedroom. He would come to me often. This is about the time that my parents started having issues. They started arguing, and they were on the brinks of getting a divorce, and the spirit always came into my life. He always came there. There you go. Oh, hello, Steve. Hello, everyone that's popping on and saying hello. I'd love to say hello to you as well. Feel free to write it in the comments. Hi, how you're doing, where you're tuning in from. I'd love to say hi to everyone that's watching live. So the spirit used to come, and on the corner of my room, always, when he wasn't there, I felt like I missed him. I was like, oh, where is he? I would love to see him. I missed him a little bit. I was like, what is going on? Where is he? And then we moved houses, and at that time I was going through a lot. I was diagnosed with anxiety, depression. I've had terrible IBS most of my life. Insomnia. I dealt with insomnia for 10 years along with anxiety and depression. And it was really hard on the body. And so when we moved houses, I was about 15, 16 years old. I only saw the spirit once. And he was very peculiar with how he looked. Like, he always had a suit and a top hat. And then I never saw him again. He only came to visit me at the new house once, and I started missing him. And then I kind of forgot about him. I was like, yeah, whatever. I just went along with my journey. And then once I started getting sick, I went to all the Western doctors, all of them. I started going to see doctors. They put me on medication. I was on insomnia, sleeping pills for so long. I was on anxiety, anti-anxiety, and depression pills. I was on so much. At a point when I was 22 years old, I was literally going blind. Doctors could not find out what was wrong with me. My eyesight just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And I came to a point where I was like, what am I going to do? And I was dating a man at the time who, his dad was a holistic doctor. And this was the first time that I was introduced to Western medicine. Eastern medicine, not Western medicine. Excuse me. Hello, Michael. How are you? So I went to go see him, and this guy told me, he's like, hey, Western medicine isn't working for you. You've been on these pills, and it's just making you feel worse. Your eyesight's not getting better. You're constantly sick. I was literally sick and tired of being sick and tired. Who can relate to that? I would love to see some ones maybe, or some me, put your hands up. Because a lot of people, they could relate to that, especially in the American culture, sick and tired of being sick and tired. And it was just coming up over and over and over again. So Western medicine wasn't working for me. I was like, okay, let's try this Eastern medicine. I don't know what this hocus pocus is going to be, because I was a bit of an unbeliever at the time, but let's try it. I'm, again, sick and tired of being sick and tired. Let's try it. So I go to see him and we do tons of tests. We did like an allergy test, we did some kinesiology, we did some acupuncture, and I was seeing him for several weeks, put on so many different supplements, and it was helping. But I didn't have that mind, body, and spirit connection yet. So I was working internally, like I was feeling a shift in myself, but not a full shift of energy. That mind, body, and spirit, there was no connection yet. So on the outside, it looked like I was getting better, but on the inside, internally, I was still an absolute mess. So I started taking the supplements. I was starting to feel a little bit better. And I started getting a lot of trauma with my dad. I've had tons of daddy issues. A lot of women do, lots of things that happen, lots of trauma, lots of mental abuse, just a lot of things going on at the time with my dad. And I hated my dad at the time. Hate is a very strong word. I really try not to hate many things, but I really hated my father at the time. And I was looking for an escape. So my escape was drugs, alcohol, and sex. What else was I going to do? I was in my 20s and I was making almost 100 grand working in corporate America. I was successful on the outside. All the good things were happening on the outside, but internally I had so much ego, so much anger, so much pain. Like I remember crying at night so many times, or crying in the shower. But I also had insomnia for 10 years, a full decade, which it just messed with me so much. And it was hard. Goodness gracious. So after I started practicing these modalities that I was learning from this holistic doctor, I came to a point in my career where I can either look for another graphic design job because I couldn't elevate anymore. In corporate America, like you're climbing the ladder over and over and over again. But there comes a point to the ladder where you can't go any further. So it's either you look for a new job or do something crazy. And that's exactly where I fell in. I did something completely crazy. Within 2 weeks, I packed all of my stuff. I sold my car, sold my apartment, put everything else in storage, brought a backpack, and decided to go on a lifelong journey. I didn't realize that I was going to find myself during this journey, but that's exactly what happened. And I am so grateful and so blessed to be able to share these experiences now, because without doing that, taking that first leap of faith, I wouldn't be here today speaking to all of you. So I bought a one-way ticket to Thailand, and I lived in Thailand for 8 months at the time. And while in Thailand, life is a lot more inexpensive than it is back in America. I was paying $1,700 for a one-bedroom apartment in Chicago, where in Thailand, I was spending $400 a month. So I had a lot more funds to go through. And because of that, I was able to go to meditation classes, go to yoga classes, go do things and explore spirituality in a way that I've never explored it before, but in a way that allowed me to find myself. Then I met a man while I was traveling. So I lived in Thailand for 8 months, and then I traveled for the rest of the year throughout Southeast Asia. So I went to Vietnam, I did Laos, I did Cambodia, but my station was Thailand for most of the being. Then I went back to Europe, did Panama, again, 70 countries. It was a lot. So after I got on the spiritual journey, I was paying for super inexpensively for yoga classes, meditation classes, all of this stuff. It was incredible. We've got a comment. Ania, thank you so much for the incredible work that you do. Thank you so much for being here and watching, and so good. So in Thailand, it wasn't in Thailand. So I met another man while I was traveling. And he's already been on a spiritual journey. He was on a spiritual journey for 20 years already. And I was like, wow, that's impressive. Like 20 years being on a spiritual journey. You must be so enlightened. I was like, this is amazing. And he never forced me to get into spirituality, but I found it so admirable. I found it so amazing that the first thing when he woke up, he meditated. And I was like, hey, you're meditating. I'm going to meditate too. Now meditation is a complete non-negotiable for me. That I do that first thing when I wake up every single day, even if I'm at a retreat, if I'm elsewhere, if I partied the night before, whatever, I still make sure that I meditate first thing in the morning. And I highly suggest you start doing that as well. So first tip for today, start meditating first thing in the morning. And I say first thing in the morning because that's when your mind is completely clear. You wake up from a beautiful sleep. You have no brain waves. Your day hasn't started yet. So it's a beautiful time to set that intention for the day, to see what your day is going to be like. You can start manifesting with meditation. You can do a 5-minute meditation that centers you. You can do a 10-minute meditation to have a great morning. You can do a 20-minute meditation to start your day off right. Whatever kind of meditation you want to do, just setting that time for yourself daily, consistently, will be absolutely incredible. So this man was also he was certified in EFT tapping. And again, I had a lot of anxiety, insomnia, and I was still going through a lot of the things internally that weren't fully healed yet. So it was really funny. I thought EFT tapping was complete hocus pocus, a bunch of BS. And it's funny because I'm certified now, and it's one of my go-to modalities. And today, at the end of this session, we'll be doing a little mini tapping, so I could give you a little preview of what it is and how to move that energy in your body. And it's something that you can connect to on a regular basis whenever you need a little pick-me-up. So he was doing EFT tapping, and I'm like, this man is just like sitting in the corner of the room, like tapping on himself, like on his body. And I'm like, this is just a bunch of BS. I don't believe any of it. But I did this one tapping. It took me a couple of months. I was maybe like month 4, month 5. But because I had those limiting beliefs about tapping, I didn't believe in it fully. Then one particular tapping, I was like, all right, I'm really trying to heal my anxiety, heal my insomnia. I'm going to give this my full attention and my full 100% belief in this. I did the tapping. Instantly, my energy changed, and it was absolutely incredible. Now I use it as a tool to fully connect to myself, to my clients, and the shifts are instant, literally instant. You feel an energy shift in your body in order to get to that next level of where you're trying to go, or get past the limiting belief. I say EFT tapping gets rid of all of the gunk that we have within ourselves. So I went on a journey, and I was traveling to South America at this point. I was already a little bit on my spiritual journey because of this man. I was meditating daily. I was starting to channel. Spirits were starting to come to me, but it was nothing like I am today. And I'll share more of that story in a bit as well. So I came to Colombia, Medellin, where I am right now, and it's home for me. The spiritual community is absolutely beautiful here. I've always been, my soul, I knew, was called to Colombia. I didn't realize why. I didn't know for what reason. Now that I've been here for almost 4 years, I do know why. Like, my soul has a much bigger mission that belongs here in Colombia versus anywhere else in the world, because there's so much connection to the earth and the nature and the medicine and the people, and it's so beautiful. So I first learned about ayahuasca about 5 or 6 years ago, actually longer, about 10 years ago. I did it first 5 years ago. So I started learning about ayahuasca and all these different plant medicines. And it was so fascinating, because like for 5 years straight, ayahuasca just kept coming up into my life. Like, I would turn on some kind of TV episode and they were talking about ayahuasca. I would pick up a book and someone would mention something about ayahuasca. I would put on Chelsea Lately. I remember this episode so clearly. She was talking about ayahuasca. And I was like, all right, well, I used to be a massive party girl. I loved partying. I loved drugs. I loved alcohol. That's not me anymore. But I was like, I'm going to go on an adventure into the jungle and do a bunch of drugs. It's going to be fun. Boy, was I surprised, and boy, was I wrong. That is not what it is at all. So I heard from all of my research. I did research on ayahuasca for about 5 years. I read all of the books, watched all the documentaries, and I was scared of doing it at first because the unknown is scary. Not knowing what to expect out of something, not knowing how it's going to react with your body, that's scary. We don't know what we don't know, and what we don't know can be scary. So I was traumatized by ayahuasca. I was like, man, she's going to attack my ego. My ego was massive in my 20s. I was a party girl from Chicago that made a whole bunch of money. Like, I spent it on all the wrong places. So I was thinking, I was like, all right, I'm going to go do ayahuasca, but I was scared of it. So I came to South America and I actually did a cannabis ceremony. And during the cannabis ceremony, I connected so heavily to my ego. I was literally having good versus evil in my head, like battling each other. It was a fascinating sight. And I started getting all of these downloads of my ego completely dissipating, completely dying. I had death of the ego for the first time. And this was my first awakening, as I like to call it. So after the ceremony, I went into the bathroom. I was washing my hands. And I remember, so like it was yesterday, I remember I heard a voice. This was the first time I heard an audible voice. Usually I'm very clairvoyant, so I see, and I'm very claircognizant, so I have an internal knowing. But this was the first time I ever experienced audibly. So I heard, "You're ready now." And I was like, what is going on? What am I ready for? I'm here in a cannabis ceremony washing my hands. What am I ready for? "You're ready now." I was like, okay, I guess I'm ready. The very next day, a friend of mine texted me and he's like, "I'm going to an ayahuasca ceremony. Would you like to come?" And I'm like, yes, I would love to. I'm ready now. And to me, that just showed me how synchronized we really are with the universe, how in tune we could be with ourselves, with the earth, with the universe. The universe has always got your back, and it's always there to guide you and protect you. But we really need to tune into that soul essence that we have within ourselves and trust. Because this is the thing most people don't do. They don't trust. They have all of these fears, uncertainty, this doubt that comes up for them. And it's really so beautiful when we trust the universe and trust what is meant for us. So I went to the ayahuasca ceremony and it was absolutely life-changing. After the first ceremony, I believed every single person on this earth needs to try this plant medicine. I have done many plant medicines at this time in my life, but ayahuasca is the only one that truly heals you, heals your heart, heals your soul, and allows you to connect to those deep wounds that you forgot about, that you didn't know that you have, these memories that are stored so deeply in your subconscious mind that you didn't even know existed. And it is one of the biggest catalysts to my own growth. The first ceremony ever doing ayahuasca, my intention going in was clarity. Clarity for why I had so much trauma, why my dad did certain things, why certain things came up for me. I just wanted clarity. She gave me all of that plus more. For the first time in my life, I connected to the true essence of love, the true essence of bliss. What is bliss? What is love? What is joy? First time ever in my life after that first ceremony. And I forgave my dad. I wasn't talking to my dad for 5 years throughout everything that he's done to me. And I go much deeper into all of this in my book, Rebel's Guide to Spirituality. And I'm actually writing a second, I'm working on multiple books at the moment, but one of the books that I'm writing is actually going to be an ayahuasca book. And I want to share light and educate so much about this sacred medicine and what it can do. So I'm interviewing people who have cured diseases, I have a friend who cured Lyme disease with ayahuasca. I have a friend who is in the top 300 of the world army or the world military. And in order to get there, you have to go through some deep wounded processes in order to survive that. He was literally dying from the inside out. He did ayahuasca and stem cells and saved himself. I personally have such a deep connection to the medicine and my own journey that I've gone through, and the development of the journey that I've gone through. It's beautiful. So more on that later. All the books. Yes, I will share more about my books towards the end as well. I have several that I'm working on right now, and I'm super excited to share those towards the end. But the first ceremony, I forgave my father, and it was one of the most beautiful experiences of my life. At this point, I haven't talked to my father in 5 years. I just had so much pain and so much anger from everything that he put me through. I never imagined getting out of this. But ayahuasca showed me a completely different perspective. She showed me why he did the things to me from his point of view. She showed me his childhood, the way that he grew up, things that I didn't even know were real. She showed me a completely different perspective so that I had that forgiveness from inside my heart. With forgiveness, we try to forgive people as much as possible, but deep down in the root, it's really difficult for us. We say, there's quotes that say, forgive but never forget. No, if you're truly in tune with your heart, truly in tune with your soul, you can forgive and you can forget. Because at the end of the day, we need to go to that love, go to that true essence, because love is what really makes the world go around. It's not anything else. Once you forgive, connect to that love. And it was so beautiful for ayahuasca to show me this and show me love. She taught me love. She taught me self-care. She taught me self-love. She told me how to forgive. She showed me the future. She showed me where the route that I need to take. And at this point, so this past retreat, I just came back from a retreat yesterday, and I'm still integrating and I'm still processing. This was my 40th time drinking ayahuasca, and I am in the process of also becoming a facilitator. I'm going to be hosting my own retreats. I will not be a shaman. I don't have the shaman calling. I believe that you need to either be born into a shaman family or have a shaman calling. But for me, I want to be a facilitator. I want to be able to share this medicine with the Western culture, with everything that is going on in the world. Like, the world needs this more than ever right now. Hello, Danny. I just saw you pop in. Hello, Michael. Hello, Wanda. So many people watching. It's so beautiful to connect. If you have any questions while I'm talking about anything, feel free to put them in. I will answer them as I go, and I will open up maybe the last 10 minutes for any questions that anyone might have for me live. So ayahuasca is plant medicines in general. Ayahuasca specifically, it is the biggest catalyst to my growth. And the last few ceremonies were very business heavy. And it was funny. So the day Steven and I met, I flew into Colombia. I had the interview with him. And then like an hour later, I went straight to an ayahuasca ceremony. Since then, I've done 3 more retreats, and I'm always connecting to the medicine. The medicine will always be inside of you. You can always connect to that medicine from inside, and it's so beautiful, so stunning. So the last couple ceremonies that I did were very business heavy. I wanted to know how to expand my business, get beautiful downloads. There was this one day where I literally had so many business downloads. So much information was coming through for me. I wrote a 5-year business plan in 5 minutes. I just kept streaming all of this information, and I'm like, what is going on? It was beautiful. Oops. And this past ceremony that I just did, that I came back from yesterday, was very heavy on growth. I wanted to connect more to my intuition. So I'm a channel. I do Akashic records. I do quantum healings. I do Reiki. So I wanted to connect better to that intuition so I could be a better podcast host, a better host of Spirituality for Badass Babes, a better healer, a better person, a better intuitive, and just could open up those channels more. So I'd love to share a little bit about how my first couple of days went, and then I'll go back into talking about Rebel's Guide to Spirituality. So the first ceremony that I did this past retreat, I connected the quickest that I've ever connected in my life. 15 minutes, I drank the medicine and I was connected. I've never connected so quickly. It was amazing. And all of a sudden, I'm in this green circus. It was amazing. Everything is green. There's a green and white circus tent, like you know how they have the white and red circus tents. It was green and white. There was acrobats. There was jugglers. There was trapezes. And there was this one joker there. The Joker, like the playing cards Joker, not Batman Joker. This one playing cards Joker. And he's had a red laser pointer. Everything else was green. He was riding a unicycle. And he's got this one red laser pointer. And he points at all my chakras and slowly goes up on my chakras and activates them with the red laser pointer. Activates them, and activates them. And I was like, this is absolutely amazing. This is so neat what is going on right now. I love it. Then all of a sudden I got a work thought that came up. I was thinking about a business, like an email that I have to write or something. And the Joker cut me off. He's like, nope, how dare you think about work right now? You need to connect to the present moment. You need to be here right now. How dare you? So he completely cut me off. And I'm like, no, come back. I wanted more activations. But he definitely activated me. I went to go sit around the fire. And I had so much energy moving through me. I was literally convulsing for 2 hours afterwards. I was moving so much energy. I literally felt like my DNA was reprogramming. Everything, every cell in my body was reprogramming for me to be more in tune with my intuition, for me to be more in tune with who I am and come back and remember the core of who I am. It was amazing. I haven't channeled since then. I just got back yesterday, but today I'm planning on integrating and spending that time with myself, channeling, again, going into my own Akashic records to see what comes out of this activation. It was one of the most powerful activations that I've ever had, and it was so beautiful. The second ceremony. Let's go back to the last retreat that I had in December that I did. I saw this vision of good and evil. We are in spiritual war right now. There is no denying that we're in spiritual war. And I saw this vision so clearly of every single spiritual power, God, Jesus, Buddha, divine feminine, divine masculine, Krishna, all spiritual powers, putting their powers together to knock Satan completely out of existence. I had such a profound vision of this. And then my last ceremony, the last retreat, this was in December, was very, very difficult. But moving towards this retreat, the February one, I got a glimpse of that vision again, and it happened. The spiritual war was over. We knocked Satan completely out of existence, and he didn't exist anymore. Anything bad that happened in this world ever was forgotten about. The Holocaust never existed. The genocide never existed. COVID never existed. So going into the second ceremony, it's as if that spiritual war finally ended and we were in day one of infinite heaven. It was amazing. I connected so deeply to God and everything that He has in store for us, to what heaven is going to be like. It was the most magical thing. It was so beautiful. I kept saying, I'm like, it's day one on earth. And we have to all figure out how to make peace work, how to add more love. How are we going to teach our children in the school systems love versus evil? There is no evil. Evil doesn't exist anymore. We are in a completely new earth, and that's where we're heading. This is why we're doing the work that we do. This is why I do the work that I do, in order to shine more light, bring more light into this world, because we are in that spiritual war. And I've seen, yeah, we are definitely in a spiritual war. And I have seen what it's going to look like once this war is over. And I can't wait to share more with you in order for us to get rid of all of this evil. We need to shine our lights brighter in order to wake up the people that are still under the attack. Wake up the people that are shine more light. Yes. Wake up the people that are under attack. Wake up the people that are still under all of this evil, all of this darkness. And it's not going to be easy, for sure. But this is why I do the work that I do, and work so much on myself, so much on my soul, so much on my spirit, to wake up people who are under the darkness. The more light you shine, the more darkness will come get you. I've had lots of psychic attacks. I've had lots of demonic attacks. It's not easy, but this is where we protect ourselves. Maybe one of the sessions, one of the episodes, I'll show you how to protect yourself from these attacks. For example, I've got sage with me. I'm always saging myself, different crystals for protection. We can put a blue, Archangel Michael, ask him to put a blue bubble of protection around us. There's different ways that you can protect yourself and your energy. But it's up to us to shine that light, so the world can wake up and we could finally get out of this spiritual war. Then the fourth ceremony, I did not, or the third ceremony, I didn't connect. The third ceremony was actually very intense for me. But the fourth ceremony, it was peace. It was really nice. I actually ended up having some low energy, which was very unlike me. I'm usually very high energy. So I asked the doctor that was on staff if she's got any recommendations or what I can do in order to connect more to myself, to feel more like myself. And I'm still integrating. I'm still processing. It's taken me up to 2 weeks to process sometimes. Right now, I just feel like I need a hermit a little bit. Listen to yourself, listen to your body, listen to how you can connect to yourself. We have a question that's coming in. How do you start the journey for someone to come out of the darkness? Great work on the board. Beautiful. Thank you, everyone. So, to coming out of the darkness, start connecting to the light. There's multiple ways that you can connect to the light. I talked about meditation being the first thing that you do. We can, again, protect your energy. Either sage yourself, sage your space, connect to crystals, connect to any element of light in order to start connecting more to that light. Meditation is fantastic. Start adding meditation into your day every single day. It can be meditation's fascinating. A lot of people, they're like, I don't know how to meditate. I've never meditated before. What can I do? Simple. Let's connect to our breath, and let's do that right now. Let's take a deep breath in. Hold it. And release. Take another deep breath in. Hold it. And release. And a final breath in. Hold it. And release. And there you have it. You just meditated. You can do 7 rounds of that. The 3 breaths 7 times. Do that a couple of times and connect to that breath. If you don't know how to connect to meditation, do that simply and it'll be so beautiful. Once you connect to that meditation, I highly suggest you, usually when people meditate, we have a bunch of thoughts that are coming into our brains. Imagine if you have a thought coming in, release it, put it in a folder for later. Your meditation is the time where you simply disconnect from all of your thoughts. Simply disconnect and come back to center. Your center is your heart. Connect to your heart. That's what meditation is. It's not what you're thinking about what you're going to have for lunch, not thinking what you're going to have for dinner. It's that center, that heart. And you can do that simply by breath. Once you start adding these different tools that I'll be teaching you over the next couple of months, that is the first step of you getting out of that darkness and coming back towards the light. Come back to yourself, hone in on yourself, on your inner being, on that love that you have within yourself, because every single one of us got so much love inside of us. Connect back to that heart. So beautiful. I want to share a story about Rebel's Guide to Spirituality really quickly, and then I will open the floor for any questions that might be coming through. Susan says, I have been doing meditation for 19 years and EFT tapping for 8 years. Beautiful, Suzanne. I would love to know how it's changed your life. I would love to know how both meditation and EFT tapping has changed your life in order for you to blossom into a beautiful being. I love both of those. Highly, highly recommend everyone starts. So, Rebel's Guide to Spirituality. I was already on a spiritual path and I was going through my second awakening, as I like to call it. And this was during COVID. I was meditating 10 times a day, 5, 6, 7, to up to 10 times a day. And some people might think that's a little excessive, but we were all quarantined for an entire year. And what else were you going to do? So I decided to stay proactive and meditate. So I was meditating and meditating and meditating. And for a month straight, I kept receiving the message, right, right, right. My guides kept telling me, right, right. And I never considered myself a writer. I had a travel blog when I first started traveling, and I quit it because I didn't like writing. I was like, well, universe, what do you want me to write? I'll write a couple blog posts, maybe some social media posts. What do you want me to write? Then after this month, I started getting more hints from the universe. The universe started telling me, write more of your story, share more of what you've been through, share how you've healed, share more about plant medicines. Again, universe, I'll write a couple blog posts, write a couple social media posts. What do you want me to write, universe? And the universe didn't give me a clear answer. The universe is like, I'm going to make you work for this one. I was on a massage table one day and I was in pleasure. When you're in pleasure, that's when the universe gives you your best ideas. How many times have you been in the shower washing your hair and then all of a sudden you get this genius idea and you're like, oh, ding, 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 ding. Thank you, universe. Like, I really needed that because you're in pleasure. That's when you get the best ideas. So I was on a massage table in pleasure, receiving a massage in that feminine energy, in that flow, in that receiving mode. And I heard Rebel's Guide to Spirituality. In that moment, I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I knew what I was going to do. all of a sudden I'm like, I am writing a book. What? I never imagined I was a writer ever. I didn't know how I was going to do this, but Rebel's Guide to Spirituality. So I set a goal for myself. And I remember being in a coffee shop. I was talking to my friend and I was telling her, I was like, hey, I'm writing a book. And I didn't tell many people that I was writing a book, just like my really, really close friends. I didn't want to prematurely say something. And then what if I decide not to share it? What if I decide not to go through with it? Who knows what's going to happen? So I was telling my friend and she's like, Ania, it takes people years, 10 years to write a book. I was like, I'm going to do this in 4 months. She's like, you're crazy. I'm like, I know. I do things crazy all the time. Within 4 months, I wrote my book, got it edited, got it published, did all the marketing materials for it. 4 months later, my book was published. 2 weeks after I published it, I got it on bestsellers list. And it is my pride. It is my joy. It is my first book. It's my baby. You could get it at rebelsguidetospirituality.com. It talks about my entire journey with everything I've been through when I was younger, as well as my healing process. And I also include links as well, or processes as well. So it's not only you're learning from it, you'll be able to integrate it as well. There's tons of meditations in there, EFT tappings. So you're learning and then you're integrating. So it is a beautiful tool book. Highly suggest you get it. Let me know what you think of it. Yes, everyone needs to heal, and this book will really allow you to heal. So pride and glory. I love that book. So that's my little story of how when we quiet our minds, really connect to that intuition, connect to that silence, that's when spirit will start talking to us. And you will be amazed at everything that comes through for you. Within the next couple of months that I'll be hosting Spirituality for Badass Babes, I'll be giving you different tips and tools on how to connect to that intuition, how to connect more to yourself, more to everything that you're doing, how do we start EFT tapping. So I think I'm going to start EFT possibly the next episode. We might do a next Tuesday, 5 p.m. Eastern. We might do a little EFT tapping. But so what EFT tapping is, if you're not familiar with it, it is emotional freedom technique by creator Gary Craig. We all have different meridian points down our bodies, similar to acupuncture points. If you've seen a version of an acupuncture model, there's like all the lines with a whole bunch of little points down the body. We all have these meridians. So EFT allows you to get rid of any emotions, get rid of any gunk, so to say, any limiting beliefs, any negative beliefs, any negativity. And we always start with negative affirmations. And I actually had someone tell me the other day saying that they were triggered by me doing the negative affirmations first. The reason that we do the negative first, because we need to acknowledge the negative. We need to acknowledge that darkness that is inside of us. Once we acknowledge it, we tap on it, move that energy around, we finish with a positive affirmation. Finish with what we want our lives to be. We could use it as a manifestation tool. We could use it to get rid of limiting beliefs. We can use it to start our better lives, and start it now. It's simple. The tapping points are side of the hand, eyebrow, side of the eye, under the nose, chin, collarbone, under the arm, and then top of the head. We'll do a actual EFT tapping next week. I'll save that for next week. But feel free to go on my YouTube channel. It's Ania Travels. Most of my social media is Ania Travels. Feel free to go on YouTube, and I have tons of tappings up there as well. So feel free just to hop on YouTube if you want to familiarize yourself with tapping. And then on my Facebook page, I actually do a EFT tapping every Tuesday as well. So Tapping Tuesday, hop into my Facebook profile page, and you'll be able to follow along with my tappings, as well as in my Facebook group, which is also titled Spirituality for Badass Babes. You can just look up the Facebook group, and I have a live tapping in there as well every Tuesday. So That was a lot of information, a lot of wealth of knowledge. Is there any questions that anyone has? I see some comments popping up. I enjoyed the meditation exercise. You're very welcome, Michael. I'm so glad you enjoyed it. Ashley says you're doing amazing. We're so excited to have you. EFT, fantastic, Michael. Yeah, Michael, feel free to join my Facebook group, Spirituality for Badass Babes, or simply going on my YouTube channel and following along any of those EFT tappings. If no one has any questions, maybe I could do a simple tapping today. I'll do a quick 5-minute tapping before we release. But before we do that, I would love to share with you. So I am hosting the Rebel Entrepreneur Retreat next week. Next Wednesday, we start, I believe that is the 23rd. Yes, the 23rd. We start Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern time. So the 1.0 version was very business strategy. The 2.0 version will be connecting to your truth, how to create beautiful, tremendous growth in your energy, in your power. We're going to be activating abundance within you. We'll be doing meditation. We'll be doing tapping. I'll be guiding you a breathwork session as well. And then the last day will be a Q&A. And this is exactly how I have you can sign up by going to rebelentrepreneurretreat.com. We start next Tuesday, the 23rd. At 12 p.m. Eastern. It is 3 days. This is also how my incubator. So I have a year-long incubator called Abundant Badass University. And that is how it is set up. So we have 3 weeks within a month. It is a full year-long process. Week 1 is the lesson. Week 2 is the activation. We'll be doing tappings, meditations, Akashic records, breath work. We'll be activating everything that you learned from week 1. And then week 1 will be a mastermind Q&A session. And then the last week is an integration. So you'll get a little bit of an idea of how I run the actual Abundant Badass University as well. So I highly recommend signing up for Rebel Entrepreneur Retreat, and you can just go to rebelentrepreneurretreat.com. I saw a question come in. Was it hard to leave corporate America? Great question. So corporate America, for me, was very toxic. And I knew corporate America wasn't for me always. I hated the monotony of doing the same thing over and over and over again. I know corporate America wasn't my end all be all. It was great at the time being because I was living the American dream. I was making my mom and dad proud. I was the first of my generation of all my cousins to go through college, graduate college, get a bachelor's degree. I was making a lot of money at the time. But I knew this wasn't it for me. I knew I had a purpose that was much, much, much bigger than I can ever possibly imagine. And I'm still working on this process. So because I had these little hints from the universe, I came to a point in my career where I was butting heads with my manager. Every single day, I was just sick of corporate America. I hated the office politics. I hated the monotony. I hated waking up every single day at the same time and sitting in traffic for an hour one way, going to work, sitting in traffic for another hour, coming back, then it's 7 p.m., making dinner, and I have to do it all over again tomorrow. Like, what kind of a life is that? Not a life that I wanted to live anymore. So because I had all of these hints from the universe and hints from I could either do something crazy or find a new job. And so I did something crazy. It was scary. Taking that leap of faith was so scary. I didn't know where my next paycheck was going to come from. I didn't know what I was going to do. I had so many different things that were coming up for me. I had literally no idea where I was going to be 5 years from now, 10 years from now. So leaving corporate America, it was scary, but it was exactly what I needed. I wouldn't have been where I am today. I wouldn't have gone through all of the certifications, all of the processes that I've been through now if I didn't take that leap of faith. And if you're going to take any takeaway from what I'll be teaching you over the next few months is taking that leap of faith and believing in yourself. Is there any final questions? Because we are about to finish up. If there isn't, terrific work. Thank you so much. Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Michael, Stephen, Ashley, all the people that were on live, all the people who are watching the replays as well. And I will be here every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Spirituality for Badass Babes. I am Ania Halama. You can go to aniahalama.com. All of my information is on my website. You can go to Rebel Entrepreneur Retreat, which is also linked on my website. All of my social media is over there on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, pretty much all the social channels. I am at Ania Travels. So interesting. Fantastic. I'm so glad that you think so, Barbara. So at Ania Travels on all social media platforms, I would love if you can follow me, like all the videos, and follow along on this journey. Feel free if you have any questions that come up for you while you are going through your own processes. This is what I am here for. And I believe there's a link to work with me as well. If there's one on the website, I believe it's just the bit.ly link. If you'd like to apply to work further with me and get to know me a little bit more, feel free to connect with me. My messages are always open. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much who has listened. Thank you, everyone who's welcoming me into this chapter's family. I am so grateful and so blessed to be here and to bring you the wealth of knowledge that I have from all forms of the universe. I have some beautiful things planned, some guest speakers coming in as well, sharing their magic. It's going to be amazing. Thank you, everyone. Please share. Yes, please like and share everywhere. Spirituality for Badass Babes. And I will see you next week.
Join us for this free 90-minute masterclass and find out how the Rebel Entrepreneur method can change your life and business. For the badass spiritual entrepreneur that is ready to step into limitless abundance and consistently bring in 10, 20, 30K months. To join the masterclass, visit aniahalama.com/rebel-method.